For the host, Mitchell. Mitchell, how are you? And let's just dive deep and dive into specifically enough the latest news. We haven't talked in a couple weeks, and you had a lot of big things happen. So let's go over them.
Okay. Finished a meeting with the Rarity Bay Women's Club. It's just south of Knoxville, and had a great meeting there. I think there were 62 ladies present there, and so got to sell several of the first and second book, and also got to talk about what was going on, field some questions. And now I've gotten someone from that same group who wants me to come do a meeting with their specific book club. And then I got another call from one in Johnson City where I did the Barnes & Noble that wants me to come and do a book club with them. So it's starting to happen, and I've had another book club do it. And unfortunately, I wasn't able to meet with them, but they sent me a list of questions. And so I was able to respond to their questions and give that back.
You know, and it's so interesting, the process of these book clubs, right? You really build these relationships because people are reading your book and get to be able to share with all of them. It's awesome.
Yeah. And the biggest question I keep getting is, how was I able to write from a female's voice?
Yes. And that's where your secret sauce comes.
Oh, well, it's nice. I've had one person out of, I think, 50 reviews on that said that's obvious this is a man writing from it. Yeah. But the rest were pleasantly surprised. When you have 4 daughters, you've coached girls softball, you've taught, I was a pastor, I was a counselor. You just get to hear those voices and blend those in.
100%. But it's just a great feeling.
It is.
It's a fantastic feeling to be able to share. And so they all read your book before you attend?
Yes. And then they're going to ask me questions, interact with me, tell me what they thought.
And I had a great first.
Time.
You've not, so you already attended one.
I didn't attend one. I was unable to attend that one, and they sent me a list of questions, and I responded back to them.
Okay, but you're going to attend one of them, or is it just
Yeah, I'm going to be one in person. I'm going to do another one via video, and then I've got 2 or 3 more book signings in the mix. One in Alabama, so that's expanding my area for my region. I had a great time at the Killer Nashville Conference. I was able to be on 3 panels there, so that was a good experience as well.
So talk about the Killer Nashville Conference and the experience of that after we prepped you a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, it was interesting because this was my first time even attending. And then I got an invitation to be on one panel and then asked for a second and then for a third. So I got to talk about writing for a series character. How do you develop, instead of a one-off, how do you develop it for more books, since I have that 6-book series pitched. And then I got on red herrings. How do you lead in a mystery, give enough clues and enough diversions so that they enjoy that and think they're solving it, but the realistic clues are still there.
Exactly.
And got to meet a lot of people and made some friendships, and they invited me to continue on those relationships.
And you were able to sell books too.
Yeah. I didn't sell very many. You had 300 authors. They're all trying to sell their books, and it was just for authors. It wasn't for anyone else outside of that.
Oh, the people attended are all authors?
Yes, they were all authors writing in the mystery, suspense genre.
So it's got to feel cool to be a mentor to all of them in a way.
Yeah, and be mentored by them. And I found very quickly that my niche was that I had a Christian element into my book, where 99% of them did not.
That's crazy. Because that's just, I guess, how it is, but crazy in the way of an opportunity you have. If they all were there, and was there any Christian mystery ones with you there?
There were, I think, 1 or 2 that at least spoke out about being that. But a lot of people came up behind the scenes after the panels and talked and were so excited that I was able to do that and have a market for it. And so that was going to encourage them to be a little more open with their faith and their books.
Exactly. So this is the real cool thing about all this, Mitchell, is the opportunity of getting to make these connections, build these relationships, and move forward. It's pretty cool. I think that's the best point of the matter to talk about, right?
And it's a big answer to prayer to see this developing and growing little by little and just expanding like that, those ripples in a pond.
I want to thank all those great people that subscribed to your email, and how we're going to be knocking out the email. We're in the process of working on getting the newsletter out. And so they'll have that newsletter, and then they'll also get other emails as well. So that's got to be exciting as well to get to this piece.
Yeah.
All right. Let's talk about other things that happened. You had a couple book signings. How did those go?
Really well. I sold 49 at one and 36 at another. And so that's great. My targets were like 25. So I'm exceeding my targets on those
And what would you say with the fans? Because they've already read one of the books. Did you notice that of the ones you
I
didn't
know. The one I sold the most, they hadn't read either.
Oh my God.
So I was completely new to them. This is my subdivision where my brother lives. His wife is in this book, Rarity Bay Women's Club. And so she got me connected to them. I got invited and people were there like, oh, this is Mark's brother. And then once I spoke and they came and talked and asked questions, it just really blew up. It was great.
Cool. That's really cool. I think it's fantastic to have that experience, to have the process. So the book, so basically going to these signings, what did you learn most now that after doing these events that you didn't know before?
That they don't really want to hear me sit up there and speak and just kind of like give a sermon or anything. They want to dialogue with me. Making those connections one-on-one, I think, is more important than sitting up there in front of 50 people, is talking to each one and finding out where they are and what of my books can connect to them.
And that's the interesting thing, Mitchell, is that's the truth that I spoke this week in front of 20 financial analysts about marketing, and a couple asked questions, but it was a Zoom. I don't think that would have been the case in a live format, because in a live format, they're going to be more intrigued. They're going to want, maybe they'll come up and talk to you afterwards.
Yes.
There's nothing about being live in person, is it?
And I find a lot of people don't want to ask the questions in front of the others, but they're willing to ask those before or after.
I find that fascinating and cool at the same time. What would you think you'd do differently now after all these events? You keep doing them, but what would you do differently in the next event you attend?
I think I would read samples from the book. I haven't done that yet, and I should. I just read a little portion or excerpt in each one. I've talked about them. This one, they wanted to know all about the backstory. And so I got to get into a lot of that with her, but I need to read something that will bring them into the book.
Love it. And so you learn from these things.
Yes.
Because it's an experience, an ultimate experience.
Yeah. And I'm loving that one-on-one and the group's time.
So let's talk about, we delve into that, Mitchell. Let's talk about the one-on-one time as well and dive deeper into the relationships and stuff from this. Kind of dive deeper into this whole process that your goal was to do ministry. And now you're able to do this ministry work with all these people that are not all Christians at your events.
Yeah, and the nicest thing for me is hearing from people who want to get someone else to read that book because they've struggled with the church and their relationship with God because of something. And that's the target group I was really looking for, is those who, like Abby, who have been hurt in the past. And because of that, they have pulled back from God and pulled back from the church completely.
Oh my goodness. And that's very sad.
But that's the ministry, and that's where my heart is. And so to hear people who've read it wanting someone else specifically to read it and passing that book on. So
go figure. Those are, so we, just to make sure I summarize, we talked about Killer Nashville. We talked about both book signings. We talked about the newsletters. Is there anything else from last month that people will be looking forward to learning about you?
Just they can interact with me. Email me. My email is there. You can go through the website, but that's where I would love to do. That's that one-on-one contact. Feel free to email me or connect through that website and ask your question.
All right. Best place to go is MitchellSKarnesAuthor.com. Appreciate it, Mitchell. It was great stuff. Take care.
All right. Thanks, Neil.
All right. That was a special simulcast of the Neil Hayes Show and the Mitchell S. Karnes Podcast, guys.